Having those enormous ribbons on the Harbour Bridge, a very symbol of Sydney, was such a wonderful symbol that in Australia we accepted that HIV was everybody's business.
This was a personal journey and story for me because at the height of the AIDS epidemic, I was living right here in the heartland of a community that was most affected.
We created a response that covered everything. In Australia, we had a whole range of people who could see ahead, who could see where things were going, and they could bring the resources and the effort and the passion and the emotion to change the inevitable. David Cooper was a tremendously important person in the Australian response to HIV and AIDS from the early 1980s, when he was a very young clinician and scientist and researcher, and he and his colleagues saw the tremendous threat that AIDS posed to our country if it were left to go unchecked and uncontrolled.
Little did I know then that I would be working with Professor David Cooper and Bill Bowtell to bid for the 4th International AIDS Society Conference. We won that bid and we brought the world to Sydney to show how Australia was managing the biggest public health crisis in the 20th century. It was at that moment that gave me clarity as to what we do and why we do it.
The 2007 conference was a big opportunity for the world's researchers at that time to come together to discard what didn't work and to refocus their concentration on what in the end turned out to work very well.
Having a conference in your hometown means everything, because it means you bring everybody from around the world to bring their knowledge to where you are. It leads to new collaborations, new relationships, and really supercharges your research.
We are heading towards the end of it as a global pandemic, as a global epidemic, and certainly a much better outlook than we had even 20 years ago. I'm very pleased that young people now cannot understand the fuss about HIV and AIDS, because in the end it means that we succeeded.
David Cooper was a fine scientist. He was also a wonderful physician. His patients loved him, and they appreciated his kindness and the fact that he was always on call. He was a good ambassador for Australia. He based his role in helping our neighbours in the Asia and Pacific region in the HIV struggle on good science. He therefore was an example of the scientist, the Australian scientist of today and of tomorrow.